Hello. Sitting in Tama, Iowa, waiting on a load that was supposed to be ready 7:30 this morning. It's now what time is it? It's now 7 o'clock at night, and the load's still not ready. Welcome to the trucking industry. But anyway, I've been on Facebook, and you know me, I always gotta raise hell. But I'm not a troll. I don't like trolls. Trolls are a pain in the ass. But yeah, I do. I raise hell on online, especially with people because I'm not a radical progressive, and I tend to get into fights with radical progressives all the time. But I'm not a conservative. I'm a liberal, which means I wind up getting into arguments with conservatives all the time too. But I've been this one guy on Facebook's try to make me look or feel stupid or something or other because I don't take the radical view of man-made climate change that progressives do. Even though I do believe in climate change. Climate change is very real. Climate change is a big, major issue that has to be addressed because we know what's going to happen, and it's just politicians don't want to address it. Just like they don't want to address the second issue that the guy brought up, trying to say that the only reason that I was in support of Yang was for the $1,000 a month. I actually love the UBI idea. I believe in the free market. I definitely am a free market capitalist. I do not believe in our current tax code because it does not work in a free market system. I do not believe in the subsidies that both parties have given to companies like Walmart and Exxon and GE and so on and so forth. I don't believe in the way that they have the tax laws set up so that I could go out and buy a multi-million-dollar yacht and then write it off as a business expense and use it once or twice a year for business use. Meanwhile, the rest of the year I'm just using it to take my family or my whores or whatever out on it, you know. But I love the VAT. I've been to England and I see how the VAT worked over in England, and I love the VAT. It's the most honest, fair taxation system in the world. And that's why I like it. It's fair, it's honest, and it treats everybody equally. And Yang's proposal for the UBI actually introduces the VAT into our American standard for taxation, which means then we could start using the VAT and bring it more and more into line with the way the VAT should really be working and getting rid of this horrible tax code that we have now. So that's one of the great things about Yang's UBI that I really like. But that's almost a side effect. The biggest thing about Yang's UBI is if we put a if we got where the free market and the local government and and local city groups, we just made a coalition. I'm sorry, I'm getting over a cold and I'm having a hard time talking. A coalition of just a group of people that can all get together, and we go into cities like Detroit, and it doesn't even have to be cities. We can go into small town America that's been devastated from the closing of plants and factories and this and that, and we can revigorize these neighborhoods that have been completely abandoned. And the way we do it is we combat homelessness. This is something that, whether you're an extreme conservative an extreme progressive, or anybody in the middle, like myself. We can all come together because we can all agree that homelessness is a major problem for America. Homelessness is a major burden on the economy. Homelessness is a major burden on just everything, not just for, the people that are living around the homeless, but the homeless people themselves. I mean, for everybody involved and everything involved, homelessness is just a horrible issue that needs to be addressed. And with Yang's UBI, we can actually put in place real programs that will actually work. Not these programs that these idiots on this far left fringe want to come in and just make this whole nanny state, which will never work. We live, I mean, it's bad enough we don't live in a true free market system, but they just want to make it worse. And then we have these radicals on the far right who just think that, you just need to leave everybody to fend for themselves like it's the Wild West. Meanwhile, they're all in favor of just giving money to Exxon and Walmart, and not that the ones on the far left aren't just as bad, but they have that in common actually. But everybody could come together on this because this is something where everybody could come together, and the program would be so easy and it'd be cost effective. Because first of all, Yang's UBI it's a wash. I mean, everybody keeps trying to say that it's a tax increase, which, like Obamacare is actually was a tax increase. Read the Supreme Court, not me. The Supreme Court said so. It's the only reason it's legal. Don't yell at me. The Supreme Court said that it's a tax. It's the only reason it's legal. To do the UBI, of course, it's got to be shown as a tax, because the only way that we can do a dividend, because that's what the UBI is. It's a dividend mainly on data and data mining. And I've been on social media for years now, and I've had a smartphone for years now, and I've never got my data dividend. Nobody else has got their data dividends. So, he's right. He's absolutely right in that, it's our property. But to do a dividend on it the way that you would do your dividends in Wall Street is really, really complicated. To simplify it, using the VAT makes sense. And like I said, the side effect to that is that we can finally bring an honest tax system into the United States as well. So the side effect, there's all kinds of pluses to this. I mean, everything that I look at with the UBI, all I see is pluses. Wherever I look, I see a plus. I see very few negatives, and most of the negatives wash themselves out, like the cost. The cost in the end is going to be a complete wash, because what will happen is, if we do this right, which means we can't let radical progressives and radical conservatives have any control in this. We need to keep them out of it somehow. We need to just have normal people like me, and normal people that, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat or a constitutionalist or a libertarian or a Green Party, we all see the same things, as far as making things work. We're the ones that need to be in control of making this work. But we could bring in a program. And what we do is we go into these decimated neighborhoods. It doesn't even have to only be cities. It can also be small town America. But we go into these decimated neighborhoods and we find the houses that have been abandoned and aren't hopeless. We take the ones that are hopeless and we get rid of them. We just tear them down. Get rid of them. But the ones that aren't hopeless, we use tax dollars and buy them out from the banks. I mean, we could buy them for pennies on the dollar for what they were. And we could bring homeless people into these homes. And what we do is maybe for the first 6 months, we don't charge them any rent at all. I know a lot of people, they're gonna, especially on the far right, they're going to be, oh, how can we do it? You're crazy. Da, da, da. No, we bring them in and we let them be there 6 months with no rent. This way they have a transition period. Meanwhile, they're getting that $1,000 a month. So they get to start building up a life. They start to get building up independence. They start to lift themselves with that $1,000 a month. As the 6 months are going through, from the very beginning, maybe we give them a month to settle, but after that first month, they have to start, depending on how extreme of a case they are, they have to go through counseling. It could be as little as once a month that they have to go see counseling. It could be as much as, maybe every day of the week in the beginning. Some of these people will need counseling. They will need to go every day of the week. So maybe they'll have to go, Monday through Saturday or Monday through Friday, but they need counseling. And then, the counseling won't be just about drug abuse and alcohol abuse, which obviously some of them are going to need heavy counseling with that. But it's also just going to be counseling about just them getting their lives back together in general and being re-entered into society, because they're living on the streets. Some of these people have been living on the streets for years and years and years and years. So for them, they're going to be really tough cases. But we bring these people into these houses. We, you use that, what's that? Habitat for Humanity. We do a program like Habitat for Humanity where we rebuild these houses that can be rebuilt for, a reasonable amount of money. And then to pay for the program down the line, people are they have to, when they come into the program, they have to sign a lease. And it's not going to be a regular 1-year lease. It's going to be a 2 or 3 year lease. And they have to stay there for that full duration of time. And what we do is, like I said, maybe for the first month, we just let them settle in. Then after the first month, they start counseling. So they're going to have from month 2 through month 6 where they're going through counseling, and they're going to be able to either go out and find a job on their own, or maybe, helping rebuild more homes. We can even turn this into a job program even, with them actually helping rebuild more homes. There's I don't have all the answers, but if we put a think tank together on this idea, we could get the answers together, because this could work. This is how you could end homelessness. And Yang actually has the answer. So you got all these people and you got them going through counseling, and at the 6 month mark, they start paying rent. Now, whether it's with their UBI or because they're out working, because they're all going to eventually go back to work, or they're going to start businesses of their own. And, because the reality is, most people, even in England, I've been to England, and I can tell you for a fact, as much as people like Rush Limbaugh like to say it's a nanny state, most people in England do not want to live on welfare. They're just like us. They are hardworking people, and so being there really opened my eyes to a lot of things. And so I don't buy into any kind of propaganda anymore. And most people do not want to just live on welfare. They want to improve their lives. And when they start gaining independence, they actually start gaining self-motivation, which, so, most of the people, are we going to have some people there that are just going to want to live on welfare? Yeah, it's inedible. But we're not going to set the program up the way Johnson did, where we're going to tell people, oh, well, if you go and you do things the right way, we're going to punish you and take your welfare benefits away from you. This program is not going to be set up like that. This program is going to be to empower people, which I know progressives won't like, but oh well, I like it. Most Americans like it. So at the 6 month mark, maybe we start $50 a month for rent. All their utilities will be included. Their utilities will be included, always be included with their rent. And every second or third month, we raise the rent. So if we start at $50 a month, then we go $75 a month, then we go $100 a month. So you see, but they're learning how, especially some of these people that they've been homeless for so long, they're going to need to be slowly introduced to just budgeting. And so this is going to help them to be able to learn to budget a bill. Even if it's only a small rent bill, it's going to teach them to budget a bill. And from being able to budget that, they're going to be able to start learning how to how to use their money properly. I mean, some homeless people are really smart with it and other ones are really bad. But you raise the rent and we make a cap on it so that it will never completely take all their UBI for some people that, they're just going to be stuck. There's not going to be any hope for them. So maybe for the people that there's definitely not going to be any hope, maybe we even cap it down at a lower cap. Maybe we make it something like $350 or $400 a month. And the other ones, we cap it off at $500 a month. And when they get a job, we raise it $100 a month every year. Something like that. But, it's a gradual increase. It's not something where we're just going to throw them underneath the bus because they went out and got a job like they do, like the Johnson welfare program. Because that's the problem that's why in my opinion, Johnson is the worst president ever. Because the welfare program that Johnson designed punishes people for getting on their feet. In this program, if we do it right, we're not going to punish people for getting on their feet. It's going to be a system to reward them. And the great thing about this is, while these neighborhoods are being built, and in the beginning it's going to be homeless people there, but you're going to start having mom and pop businesses coming into place. You're going to have the little grocery store because people are going to need groceries. So you're going to start having little grocery stores. I mean, maybe in these neighborhoods we can zone them where no alcohol sales, because we're trying to help homeless people. So obviously we want to keep drugs and alcohol out as much as possible. I mean, they can still, they're Americans. If they want to walk across town out of the neighborhood and go to the bar, we can't stop them from doing that. That's, I believe in independence. Even if it's wrong, they still have the right to do it. But we can still make it where maybe inside the neighborhoods you can't have alcohol sales, and we'll try to keep drugs out of the neighborhoods too, obviously. But other than, anything alcohol related, other businesses can come in. There'll be a barber would come in. Like I said, the mom and pop grocery store, probably a diner. And then as these businesses are building, they're offering people in the neighborhood a job. So you're going to have people starting to work. And as those people start working, then you're going to have demand for other businesses. Like maybe now you're going to need something like a Dollar General. And then that's going to bring in more. So you see, that's why I love the UBI. And that's why, even though, especially conservatives, but progressives, I'm sure the Clinton machine as well, is going to try to do everything they can to destroy Yang's UBI proposal. Yang's UBI proposal is a great idea. And as big of a free market capitalist as I am, I can embrace that idea because it will grow the market. And the thing about doing all this is, as you're bringing these jobs in, now, yeah, maybe at the mom and pops, a lot of the jobs will start out as under the table, is what it is, but when companies like the Dollar General start coming in, they're going to be having on the book employees. So that means that their employees are going to be paying their taxes. The mom and pop businesses are going to be paying taxes. General Dollar is going to be paying taxes. We will not allow anybody to be subsidized. We will not allow any of these Walmart type subsidies in these neighborhoods, because these are going to be true free market neighborhoods. So we're going to allow business to come in, and we're going to allow business, no matter how big or small, to be on an equal playing field to succeed or fail. So there won't be any of these tax loopholes and subsidies. We're going to be a true free market, these neighborhoods. And that's why we need people, we need real Americans, not these radical left elitists and not these radical right elitists that's unfortunately all that we have in DC right now at this point in time. So that is our major obstacle right now. But real Americans can make this work, and we can put people in power in our lower level government, starting with the city government and the town government and the county government. We can stop putting in these radicals and start putting in people that think like Yang, or say what you want about Trump. I agree in a lot of ways the guy's an asshole, but his policies themselves have not been as horrible as the radical left try to make him out to be. Some of his policies suck, but not all of his policies are horrible. I mean, it's like Obama. I didn't agree with a lot of his policies, but some of his policies were good. I mean, everybody has their good and bad. I mean, I tell people all the time, I said, you got to realize my favorite presidents, my number one, well, I go back and forth between my number one and number two. I mean, John F. Kennedy and Calvin Coolidge. I mean, it's hard for me to pick between the two which one is my number one and number two. And then Ronald Reagan. That's my top three favorite presidents. In my opinion, Johnson is the worst American president of all time. I'm very open about that, which is, people are shocked because John F. Kennedy's really, with Calvin Coolidge. Him and Calvin Coolidge are my favorite. So they're really shocked. But when you look at Johnson's policies, I mean, everybody gives him a free pass because he still went forward with John F. Kennedy's work. But all he did was ride John F. Kennedy's curtails. He didn't do nothing on his own. All he did was just sign off on all the work that John F. Kennedy did. As a matter of fact, a lot of people, they hate the police state that we live in today. The reason we live in the police state we live today is because Johnson tried to undermine all of John F. Kennedy's work. Even his welfare program was designed to undermine all of John F. Kennedy's work. People know very little about Johnson. They think they know all so much about Johnson. Johnson is the godfather of the modern progressive movement, the radical left. This is coming from a liberal. I'm a liberal. I'm a true liberal. I believe in the Constitution. I believe in gender equality. But I also believe in the freedom of religion. That's why, even though I believe in gender equality and I believe that two men have every right, the same right as a man and woman, to walk into any government building and get married, two men or two women don't have the same right to force that onto a church. Because I believe in the Constitution. It's a liberal. You have to be a liberal to fully embrace the Constitution. You cannot embrace the Constitution if you are not a liberal. People do not know what a liberal is. Nobody's taught anything right anymore. They're taught all this false narratives. I mean, it is what it is. We can't. I wish I could change it. I try to change it. I do my best to change it. But am I going to change it? I don't know. But yeah, Yang's UBI. That's why I love it. Because I really do think that it would not. It would end the. It wouldn't end at 100%, but it would definitely be the biggest movement towards ending homelessness ever in the United States of America. It would be leagues beyond the horrible welfare deal that Johnson made with the country. I mean, this would be leagues beyond that horrible deal. This would be good for the country. It would create tax revenue in the end. It gives people independence. It brings, it will start to spur more mom and pop and Main Street business again. It will also introduce the VAT into the United States, which will end all these subsidies that these major corporations are getting. And it will end all these tax loopholes that all these major corporations get to use, which means that will increase tax revenue. It will equalize the whole unfair tax system that we're in now. A lot of people don't understand how the VAT tax works because they think somehow that the guy buying the $1 million boat is paying the same taxes as the guy buying the $250 aluminum rowboat. They're paying the same tax percentage per se, but the taxes are very different. Because, like, for example, on the aluminum rowboat, I try to explain people all the time how the VAT works. This is the easiest way to explain it. Them two boats. You have the aluminum rowboat. The aluminum rowboat, the aluminum from the time it's getting dug up out of the ground to the time it's processed is taxed. As it's turned into the rowboat, it's taxed. The three wooden planks or two wooden planks or whatever little bit of wood that's in the aluminum rowboat, from the time it gets cut at a tree to the time it becomes the wooden planks, it's taxed. The steel rivets that will be used to hold the rowboat together, from the time the steel comes out of the ground as ore through the time that it becomes the little steel rivets, it's taxed. So the guy buying the rowboat is paying the taxes on aluminum, wood, and steel. The guy with the $1 million boat over here with the state-of-the-art everything, the helipad, the pool, the spa, the whatever else is in it, multi-million-dollar, he's paying taxes on all the materials in that boat as well, which means he's paying taxes on steel, aluminum, copper, tiles, wood, the exotic wood as well as the regular wood. I mean, he's paying taxes on all these different fiberglass, all the materials that go in that boat. So he's obviously paying his fair share of taxes because he's paying a lot of taxes on that damn boat. But percentage-wise, dollar for dollar, he's still paying the same amount of tax on every dollar for each one of those materials as the guy with the rowboat. The only difference is that just like if you pay a 7% sales tax on $1 compared to paying 7% sales tax on $100. On $1 you're paying 7 cents. On $100 you're paying $7. So you're still paying your fair share, but 7 cents, $7. Same with the two boats. Rowboat VAT, yacht VAT. But again, because it's the way the VAT system is designed to work when it's used properly, as long as we have honest politicians incorporating the VAT, the loopholes go away. I don't believe in subsidies. I do not believe in subsidies at all. I believe everybody has the same equal right to succeed or fail. You should not be, just because you're Walmart doesn't mean you should get special tax treatment over the mom and pop supermarket over here. I don't care that you're bringing in more jobs. That's irrelevant. You have the same right as the mom and pop to fail or succeed. I don't believe in tax write-offs. I mean, I'm an independent contractor, so I get to use tax write-offs. I'm not stupid, but it doesn't mean that I take advantage of. Like, for example, I don't take advantage at all of charity tax write-offs because it's charity. If if you're using a tax write-off for charity, all you're doing is just saying, "Oh, thank you for paying my tax. Thank you for paying the charity, Cindy, or Earl, or Joanne, or Jack, or whoever your neighbor taxpayers are." That's all you're doing. You're thanking them for paying your charity. I don't do that. I give to I give to charity as much as I can. I mean, and I've never used a charity tax write-off because that's not charity. Then, like I said, that's just you saying, "Oh, look how charitable I am." Meanwhile, you're really making your neighbors pay your charity. You're not paying it. It's your neighbors paying it. So I don't really believe in write-offs either. I mean, most write-offs, do I take advantage of them? Yeah, you have to. But the charity one is one that I refuse to take advantage of. But if all write-offs went away, I really wouldn't care because everybody else would be getting the same tax treatment as me. So it's not like not taking advantage of a tax write-off then is hurting me. Because that's the problem now. If you have a business, you have no choice but to use the tax write-offs because other businesses are using the tax write-off. And so the only way to compete with those businesses is to use the tax write-offs that they're using so that you can compete with them. And that rigs the system too, because then you have companies like GE and Target and Amazon and Walmart that they're getting special tax favors that nobody else can get, and they get special tax write-offs that nobody else can get, and they get special tax treatment that nobody else can get. And that's another thing about that charitable donation tax write-off that I don't like. I never donate through things like Facebook. I do at Loves. It is the one place where I do because I deal with Loves all the time, and so I always give to the Children's Foundation when they're doing their drive. But other than that, I do not give money to any kind of corporate entity that's doing a fundraiser drive for charity, because what they do is they write that off as their tax donation. They get the tax write-off for that donation, not you. They do. So I don't give, in general, I do not give to charity through a third party. I give it myself. Like the Wounded Warriors Foundation, I usually give them money on my birthday. In fact, that's what I'm wearing now. It's not a Wounded Warrior shirt, but I'm a patriot. I come from I got a lot of military family, and I'm very proud of our military and our armed forces. And even though I didn't necessarily agree with our invasion of Iraq, I did agree with our invasion of going after Bin Laden in Afghanistan or Pakistan, wherever it was that we went first. I can't remember which one it was we went first. But I never did agree with, but I've never thrown our soldiers underneath the bus. I've never went up to a soldier who says, "Oh, I served in Iraq," and look at him and spit at him. That's just, my uncle served in Vietnam, 2 tours in Vietnam, and I have other family members who served in Vietnam, and I would never disgrace them the way they were disgraced for doing what they thought was the right thing for this country. Even if like I said, I disagree with the Iraq invasion, but I would never dishonor a soldier for doing what they thought was the right thing by going to Iraq. That's horrible. That's just disgusting. Part of it might be because I come from a family with so much military history. I don't know, but yeah, we kind of got off track here. But I really just wanted to talk about why I really love Yang's UBI, and about how because it really does. It's just positive after positive after positive, and in the end, it really is a no cost structure because of all the revenue that it will generate. And if it's combined with something like a program, like I said, like a program to rehabilitate abandoned neighborhoods and get the homeless off the street, the two combined, I mean, it winds up, everything becomes a wash. All of it. The whole cost of it all becomes a wash because it creates jobs, it creates tax revenue, it creates a boost to the local economies, and then those local economies start to flower out into the bigger picture. That's what people, the economy, when you're building it, you have to start on the micro. So you start with the neighborhood. If a neighborhood, if a neighborhood dies, then that starts having an effect where it's the cancer, and it just starts killing the whole everything surrounding that neighborhood. It starts with a neighborhood. Once a neighborhood dies, then everything on the edges of the neighborhood starts dying, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until eventually you have a whole city that's just, or a whole county. I mean, it just spreads. And that's what's going on in our country now. And what's happening is all these little neighborhoods and towns and everything that have died, they've all been dying on the edges, and they've been growing and growing and growing, and now they're starting to merge. And that's why, even though Wall Street is doing so good, and on paper the economy is doing really well, in real world America, we're in really bad shape, and we need to do something. And the only way to do it is we need to start rebuilding from the neighborhood up. It's because corporate America is not the answer. It's obvious. I mean, I'm a free market capitalist, and I'm telling you, corporate America is not the answer. As a matter of fact, corporate America is the reason we do not have a free market in America today. We do not live in a free market. As a matter of fact, if you want to know what a free market is, you need to go to countries like, you need to go to communist China. The greatest example of a free market is in communist China. Of all the places in the world, communist China is where you got to go to see the greatest example of a free market. Hong Kong. You need to go to Sweden. You need to go to Australia. You need to go to New Zealand. You need to go to, I looked this up recently. We're number 12 on the list. Here you go. Number 1, you need to go to Hong Kong. Number 2, you need to go to Singapore. Number 3, you need to go to New Zealand. Number 4 is Switzerland. Number 5 is Australia. Number 6 is Ireland. Number 7 is the United Kingdom. Rush Limbaugh and all of them on, right, they love picking on the United Kingdom. The United Kingdom is more of a free market than the United States of America right now. If you're a Republican, you need to wrap your head around that. The United Kingdom, which everybody thinks is a nanny state, is more free market than the United States right now. Canada, the worst healthcare program in the free world. Everybody likes saying that Obamacare is like what they use in the United Kingdom. It is not. The United Kingdom, their healthcare has issues, but it is nothing like Obamacare. Canada, on the other hand, but they have a freer market than we do. The United Arab Emirates, the Arabs have a freer market than us. Iceland doesn't surprise me so much. Actually, I'm surprised Iceland is only just below us. They're number 11. We're number 12. Actually, I thought Iceland would have been more, number 2 or number 3. But we really, but we don't live in a free market system because of corporations. And the only way to reverse it is we need to start building from the neighborhood. Not from the city, not from the state, not from the federal. We need to start rebuilding at the smallest level, which is the neighborhood. And from the neighborhood, you build out into the village. From the village, you build out into the town. From the town, you build out into the county. And so on and so forth. And it's the only way we can fix our broken economy right now. Because corporations are not the answer. Corporations are the problem. And so that's why I support Yang's UBI. And that is why I will support Yang when he does decide to run for president and he does actually get the candidacy. I will vote for Yang. I actually gave money to Yang. I gave it to him the day before he called out. So I gave him $25 or $35. I mean, it's not a lot. It was all I had in my bank account at the time. But I gave him the last of my damn money. The money, it was a Thursday. I had $25 or $35. I gave him the last of my money to support him, and then he winds up quitting the race. But it has nothing to do with personal gain for the UBI. I mean, will I use it to? Of course, I'm going to use that $1,000 to do something to improve my life. But I would love to do something with that $1,000 that's going to improve my life, while also contributing to improve the neighborhood around me and improve the lives of others around me. I mean, I'm not Amazon. I'm not Apple. I'm not GE. I'm not Walmart. I'm not greedy. And I think Yang's proposal, as long as we don't have greedy people like what we have in Washington, D.C. right now, we do not have Americans in Washington, D.C. We got a bunch of nut job fringe right and fringe left radicals in Washington, D.C. right now. And all they care about is power. That's all they want is power. So we can't even look to them for the answer. We need to get them out, really, is what we need to do. We need to just start voting for names that we don't recognize, maybe. I mean, and we need to put other things on the side. I mean, some people, they won't vote for people. And we need to put the identity politics on the side. Like there's what? Elizabeth Warren and Amy something. Oh, I need to be president because I'm a woman. Big freaking deal that you're a woman. The other one there, Budabech. Oh, you need to vote for me because I'm gay. Big freaking deal that you're gay. I don't care that you're gay. If you got lousy freaking policy, that's all that matters. I voted for Obama because I thought I was voting for someone like Kennedy. I wanted voting for someone like Johnson. I didn't vote for him the second time around. It had nothing to do with the fact that, like me, he's mulatto. I didn't vote for him the second time around because, unlike me, he was more like Johnson. I'm more like Kennedy. That's why I didn't vote for Obama the second time around. And I didn't vote for Hillary, not because she's a woman. I didn't vote for Hillary because she was the greater of the two evils that we had to choose between. It's really that simple. We had two choices. Both of them weren't, neither one of them were great choices. So, which one was the greater evil? In my opinion, it was Hillary. I mean, she was already supplying the Russians with uranium. She's selling her power to people through the Clinton Foundation. I mean, her husband was a rapist. I mean, and in Republicans, you can't talk either because, it was a Republican that allowed Epstein to get away with raping little girls and teenagers and young women in Florida. So, you don't go, yeah, because, there's no glory in your party either. I'm a realist. I look at the world through reality lenses. I do not buy into any kind of propaganda. I look at evidence, and when the evidence supports it, then I have to make my choices on that evidence. And I used to support Hillary Clinton. I was a big Hillary Clinton support. I supported Hillary Clinton against Bill Lazio. I talk about this all the time. I talk about how I got to meet Bill Lazio. He came into my store when I worked in New York. They had, it was just one of them things, the bus stops, the fuel up. They all come in. He comes in to talk to the people in the store. When he walked out, I told him, hey, remember, vote for Hillary. I supported Hillary in New York against Lazio. So it's not like, I've always been against Hillary. I was a big supporter for Hillary. A matter of fact, even though I started having dislikes about Hillary, I still would have voted for Hillary for president against whoever it was. What that weasel's name? He was running with Palin. McCain. I would have voted for, if it was Hillary running against McCain, I would have voted for Hillary. Of course, fortunately, Obama became president, and then Hillary showed her true colors when she got up on the stand and said, "What difference does it make?" That was the most horrible thing somebody could ever say about our men and women dying in the line of duty. That was just, for somebody to say that, that was that was horrible. And from that moment forward, there's nothing good that I could say about that woman, because that told me everything I need to know about that woman. That one, just those, what difference does it make? 5 words. 5 words was all it took for her to show me her true colors, to finally show me. That is one of the most disgusting things I've ever heard a politician say. So, but it is what it is. And I'm sorry I got off track a little bit, but I have a feeling that there's going to be at least one person out there that I'm hoping is going to watch this. I want them to know why I support Yang's UBI. Because we've been on Facebook back and forth over freaking climate change. Which, like I said, I do not believe in man-made climate change. I do believe climate change is real. And climate change is coming. And we need to address climate change. Because not just our country, but countries all around the world are in trouble. But man-made climate change, no. I don't buy it. I do believe we have a small impact, but no. I'm not going to buy into that lie. And the problem is, most people aren't going to buy into that lie. But if you tell them the truth, and you show them the scientific data that backs it up, I think you'd be surprised how many people that have been against all this climate change rhetoric for so long would get on board real quick. Because when you start telling them the truth, and you start showing them the data that supports the truth of what is really happening, they will get on board. Because people aren't stupid. And that's the problem with the rhetoric. These radical progressives thinks everybody are stupid. People are not stupid. And if you just start telling people the truth, people will get on board. And they'll get on board real quick.